Hi everyone, my name is Mandy Feuerbacher and I am a former visa officer with the U.S. Department of State. I have made decisions on over 100,000 visa applications on every type of visa there is, and now I'm the Executive VP of Argo, a company of ex-visa officers who prepare with clients one-on-one to ace their visa interviews. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, where we will bring you never-before shared insights on the U.S. visa interview process from behind the visa window. Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the serious topic of waivers for non-immigrant visas. So these are for temporary visas, like if you're planning to go to the United States to study, or for your H-1B, or even for a tourist visa. But something happened that means that you're not eligible and you have potentially a permanent ban to keep you from going to the US. This is not the same as a waiver for an immigrant visa or a green card where you're planning to permanently relocate to the United States. That's a completely separate process that I will probably touch upon in a different video. But today we're just talking about waivers for non-immigrant visas. If you have a visa ineligibility, it's very likely that your visa officer will let you know at the interview, and you will get a letter that will tell you under what section of the law you're ineligible for a temporary visa. So this could mean a permanent ban for you to keep you from going to the United States, or it could be something that is fixed in duration. Maybe it's just for a few years. You have a 3-year ban or a 10-year ban. All of these are possibilities, but you will usually know that at the visa interview. So the good news is, even if you have a visa ineligibility or a permanent ban, you may still qualify for a waiver dependent on a number of situations. So this is going to be a very important interview for you because the visa officer will probably drill down and ask you lots of questions about what exactly happened, if this is the first time you're applying for a visa since you've gotten the ineligibility. They will ask you about, when it happened, what happened exactly, what did you do, what was sort of your role in the entire situation? Are you responsible? Was it a decision that was made by a judge in the United States? Was this something that happened in your home country that made you ineligible? So all of these will be questions that come up dependent on what the situation was that caused you to, be in this much trouble. So I know that there is a lot of this misinformation out there about visa waivers. Sometimes there are people out there telling you that they can prepare for you a visa waiver package, or put together an entire folder for you so you have everything you need at your visa interview. And while that could be helpful, what's really important is how you handle that visa interview, because there's not really a formal application process for a waiver. Basically, how visa officers view it is going to be an interview where they find out what happened and they decide if you're eligible for a waiver. It's not going to be something where you can walk in and say, hey, I request a waiver, or I'm applying for a waiver. Visa officers do not see this process like that. They see it as just them getting to the bottom of what happened during the visa interview and then deciding whether or not you're eligible. So once they finish the interview, which could take anywhere, between 5 to 20 minutes or even longer, depending on how complicated the situation is, if they decide to support your waiver request and basically ask or seek a waiver on your behalf, they will put that in through their system and it will go to an office in DC that will make a determination whether or not you're eligible for the waiver. Usually this process takes between 4 to 6 months, so keep that in mind when you go in for your visa interview, that even if the interview goes well, it's not likely to be right away that you'll get your visa approved. It still needs to go to the office in DC and they make the final decision whether or not you're eligible for a visa, and that decision will come back to the embassy or consulate overseas, and then you will end up getting a visa in your passport, probably with some text in it with some annotations that tells you, that you have a waiver approved so that you can enter the United States. While it is helpful sometimes. Immigration attorneys do put together packages for clients. A lot of times, the only people who really know how waivers can be granted are visa officers themselves. I was a visa officer for over 7 years at the State Department, and I have made many decisions whether or not to, support or deny waiver requests. So you can see your visa officer as the first hurdle that you have to overcome, that you have to convince them to basically decide to support this waiver request before they send it to DC. If they decide not to support it, or they decide that you're not eligible for a visa waiver, then that is the end of the conversation right there, and you'll end up getting that letter again that tells you have a formal ineligibility. So there could be many reasons why you have an ineligibility. Some common ones I've seen have been for, misrepresentation or 6C1. Perhaps, you overstayed your last visa and you stayed in the United States for a really long time, and now you have, a duration ban, so that you can't go to the United States for a certain amount of time. Perhaps it's for alien smuggling. Perhaps it's for, a number of other reasons. There's a whole list of ineligibilities in the Foreign Affairs Manual that might apply to any one specific situation. So if you're in this situation, just keep in mind that this visa interview will be extremely, extremely important. It's really hard to give one-size-fits-all advice for such a serious situation. So if this is you, I would highly recommend that you sign up for a consultation with one of our ex-visa officers. We used to make these decisions all the time. We know exactly what goes into a successful visa interview for a waiver. So we would be happy to help you try to understand your situation and see how you can present the facts to the visa officer, because a lot of times they're doing a lot of interviews in a very short period of time, so they may be impatient, or they're looking for specific information that is relevant to what happened to you, and this is what we can do to help you prepare for this very important visa interview. I hope that this video was useful to you, and if you have any questions at all about waivers or ineligibilities, please feel free to send us an email at hello@argovisa.com, and you can also listen to our podcast every week and send us questions, where we'll address your questions live on our bi-weekly podcast, Behind the Visa Window, and we look forward to helping you whatever your visa issues are. Thank you so much.